There is a single number, just one number, that stands as the ultimate boundary between life and death, separating those who are drowning in debt from the billionaires who are growing wealthier every single day because of it. And here is the crazy truth schools never taught you. It has absolutely nothing to do with the size of the loan, nor does it depend on the bank's interest rate. Picture a very real scenario: two people walk into the exact same bank. They sign two identical mortgage loans on the exact same day with the exact same interest rate down to the decimal point. A few years later, one is buried in bankruptcy, their assets seized, while the other owns a massive real estate empire, making money even while they sleep. Same debt, same interest rate, totally opposite results. The difference lies in a secret number. And before this video ends, I am not only going to expose what that number is, but I will force you to apply it to your own financial situation, to change your game forever. Because debt itself was never the trap. Oozing debt with a poor man's mindset is what is actually suffocating you every single day. Let me show you how this power number works. To master this game, first wipe away every single piece of advice, every warning about debt that you have been fed since childhood. What is the core essence of a loan? It is actually incredibly simple. It is the act of renting money. When you need a car for a trip, you rent a car and pay a fee. When the rich need capital for business, they rent money. You borrow a lump sum, you pay a service fee for the time you hold it, and then you return the principal. That service fee is the interest rate, or in other words, the rent on the money. So, the single ultimate question that decides your financial destiny is, when you take that rented money and put it to work, does it bring back more than what it costs you to rent it? If you borrow money to invest at a 7% annual return, while the cost of renting that money, the interest rate, is only 4%, you just pocketed the 3% difference. Please note, this 3% profit was generated on money that never belonged to you in the first place. That gap of power has a name in the financial world: the spread. And the spread is the entire rulebook of the ultra gạch ngang rich. But the game only gets truly exciting when our secret number enters the equation. The return on your own actual cash, your return on equity, is calculated like this: TZETUZNONEQUITE bằng TH bằng TCHSOREDAD TIMESTSCEXTIMEVEZAGE. The poor look at and tremble, thinking, how do I work myself to the bone to pay this off as fast as possible? The rich look at that, smirk, and ask, what is the spread here, and how much of other people's money can I control using leverage? Same debt, but two different questions that dictate two different destinies. Throughout this video, I will constantly use this formula as our guiding light. Because every high-level financial play of the super rich is just this equation with different variables plugged in. A quick reality check: among the 6 strategies I am about to expose, some you can apply today with very little money. Others, you might not be able to touch just yet. I will be brutally honest about what is realistic and what is an elite privilege. I'm not selling you a fantasy, but you absolutely must understand their playbook to know where you need to go. Let us start with the oldest form of leverage, yet the most accessible for anyone wanting to start a business: trade credit. This is the lifeblood feeding almost every commercial business on earth. Here is how it works. Let us say you want to sell pens. Simple product, steady demand. The amateur version: you scrape together your savings for a year, use 100% of your own cash to buy a container of pens, wait for it to ship, and slowly sell them one by one to recoup your money. This is financial suicide because your hard-earned capital is locked up in a pile of plastic for months. You have no cash left to run your business. The rich version: they never pay a single cent for the goods up front. Manufacturers are always willing to ship goods based on payment terms net 30, net 60, or net 90, meaning you get goods now, and you pay 30, 60, or 90 days later. The manufacturer has essentially become your bank, and the inventory is your interest-free loan. Now plug in our golden formula. You sell out the entire container of pens to your customers before the manufacturer's invoice is even due. You collect cash from your customers, pay off the factory, and pocket the spread. So, how much of your own capital did you actually put into this deal? $0, a clean round zero. You control an entire container of goods without risking a drop of your own cash. This means your leverage is not 1:5 or 1:10. It is infinite because you are dividing by $0 of your own money. The spread on each pen might be tiny, but when multiplied by infinite leverage, your return on equity explodes. How to apply this today? You do not need a massive factory overseas. Anyone who has ever sold an item before actually paying for it has used trade credit. You can use a business credit card with a 0% promotional rate for 45 days to cycle your inventory, negotiate deferred payment terms with suppliers, or ask your clients for a 50% to 100% upfront deposit on projects. Same concept, just a different scale. Now let us step into the world of real estate. This is where those amateur financial gurus online do their math completely wrong just to hype you up. Let me show you the real math. Imagine this. Guhun down, Azun down, distressed house worth 500,000 USD. It is old, ugly, and nobody wants it, which is exactly why it is cheap. You put down 20% of your own cash, which is 100.000 USD, and borrow the remaining 400.000 USD from the bank. Next, you spend 50.000 USD out of pocket to completely renovate it, turning it into a gorgeous rental property. At this point, your total cash invested is 100.000 USD down payment cộng 50.000 USD renovation bằng 150.000 USD. Now the house is fully renovated, and tenants are lining up to rent it. Its market value shoots up to 700.000 USD. You walk back into the bank and request a refinance, specifically a cash out refinance for 80% of the home's new value. 80% of 700.000 USD, need 560.000 USD. Use this money to pay off the original 400.000 USD loan, and you walk out of the bank with the remaining cash difference of 160.000 USD in your hand. Let us stop here for a second. The amateur gurus will tell you, take thêm 160.000 USD got, subtract 50.000 USD renovation cost, and you made a profit of 110.000 USD. Zong. The reality is 100 times better than that. Look at the big picture. You put in a total of 150.000 USD of your own cash, and you just pull 160.000 USD in cash back out of the bank. This means you recovered 100% of your initial investment, plus an extra 10.000 USD in pocket money. But here is the crazy part, you still own an asset worth 700.000 USD, with 140.000 USD of equity left in it, and that house is still spitting out rental income every month. Now apply our ultimate formula. How much of your own cash is actually left in this deal? Zero. You pull all the money out. So what is your return on equity? You are no longer dividing your profits by 150.000 USD. You are dividing by zero. That is an infinite return. This is the real reason savvy investors are obsessed with this strategy, known as BRRR, buy rehab, rent refinance. Repeat, the goal is not immediate profit, it is capital recycling. You take your cash back to buy house number 2 and house number 3, while keeping the old assets and letting tenants pay off your loans. The dark side, your new loan just jumped from 400.000 USD to 560.000 USD. With today's mortgage rates, your monthly payment will spike. This entire play collapses if the monthly rent cannot easily cover that massive new payment and still leave a safety margin, positive cash flow. The trick is not the refinance. The trick is your ability to find a truly undervalued property. Now buckle your seatbelt as we ascend to the playground of the elite oligarchs. This is the exact strategy behind those shocking headlines about billionaires paying almost zero income tax even while their net worth grows by billions of dollars every year. It is not a secret loophole smuggled into the law. It is the ruthless combination of 3 standard legal rules stacked on top of each other. Once you see it, you will never look at money the same way again. Step 1. Buy. You buy or build assets that constantly appreciate over time. Take stocks, private equity, or prime real estate. On paper, your net worth grows by billions. But there is a golden rule in tax law: paper gains, unrealized gains, are not taxed. You only pay taxes if and only if you sell them. Therefore, the ultimate rule of the rich is never sell. Step high borrow. If you do not sell your assets, how do you pay for mansions, private jets, and a lavish lifestyle? The rich take their stocks or real estate to a bank and borrow against them using a financial tool called a securities-backed line of credit, SBLOC. Banks gladly lend them cash at rock-bottom interest rates because the collateral is incredibly secure. Let us plug in our golden formula. Their assets grow at an average of 7% a year. The loan against those assets only costs them 6% interest. The spread is still positive, cộng 1%, their assets remain untouched and continue to compound. And most importantly, they never sold a single share, meaning they owe $0 in personal income tax or capital gains tax. If they had sold stock to get cash, capital gains taxes could eat up 20% to 24%. Do the math, borrowing at 6% to avoid a 24% tax. You earn money at 6% to protect 24% of your wealth. That is an incredible deal. Step 3. This is the coldest and most perfect move. In many developed nations, when a billionaire passes away, their heirs receive the assets with a tax benefit called a stepped-up basis. This means all the massive capital gains built up over a lifetime which were never taxed are instantly wiped out to current market value at the time of death. The tax bill is burned to ashes. The heirs inherit the stocks at the new higher value, sell a small portion to pay off the bank loan left by the deceased, paying zero tax because the sale price matches the inherited value. And the tax-free cycle begins all over again for the next generation. The brutal truth: this is not a game for everyone. You need an investment portfolio worth at least a few $1 million before banks will even talk to you about an SBLOC. But you must understand this mechanism, because it explains why the rich never hold onto idle cash. Leverage is a jet engine, but if you do not know how to pilot it, it will fly you straight into the ground. Let us look at the brutal dark side of this tool. When you borrow against your stocks or real estate, banks are never foolish enough to lend you 100% of their value. They only lend 50% to 80% to give themselves a safety cushion. Because the fatal risk lies here. If the market crashes and your collateral drops too low, crossing the bank's safety threshold, they will instantly trigger a margin call. They will force you to deposit cash immediately to cover the gap. If you cannot, they will automatically sell off your assets right at the bottom of the market to claw their money back. Leverage is a double-edged sword, ultimate formula in both directions. A positive spread makes you a billionaire, but a negative spread crushes you into dust. And there is one type of leverage that is poor poison, which I want you to avoid at all costs: short selling. Instead of borrowing money to buy assets, you borrow someone else's stock, sell it immediately, and pray that the price plunges so you can buy it back cheaper, return it to the owner, and pocket the difference. When you buy a stock, the worst case scenario is the company goes bankrupt, the stock goes to zero, and you lose what you put in 100%. Your risk is capped, but when you short a stock, there is no ceiling on your losses. If that stock keeps skyrocketing to infinity, your losses grow to infinity, and you are still legally forced to buy that stock back at any price to settle your debt. This is the kind of debt that destroys amateur investors. I am exposing it so you can recognize the trap and stay far away. Now let's land back on earth with the most practical, actionable strategy you can execute right after watching this video. This is the consumer scale version of trade credit from chapter 2. But this time, instead of a manufacturer letting you delay payment, a major financial institution is letting you borrow cash at 0% interest. Banks and credit issuers constantly run promotional offers like balance transfers or new cards with 0% interest from 18 to 24 months. The only hurdle is a small upfront transfer fee 3% to 5%. Let us plug this into our formula. You are renting a pile of money at a total cost of just 3% for nearly 2 years, which is less than 1.5% interest per year. If you take that money and place it in safe yields returning more than 3% over those 2 years, you pocket the spread. But the most powerful real-world application of this is not chasing teeny yields. It is killing high-interest toxic debt. If you are carrying a balance on an old credit card with a punishing 24% interest rate, you are losing the financial game. You are acting as the unpaid sponsor of the bank's profits. Flip the script, transfer that balance to a new card with a 0% promotional rate, pay the one-time 3% fee, and completely wipe out that 24% interest drain. You just generated a massive return on your money by eliminating a destructive cost. That is a guaranteed 100% return on your financial health that no hedge fund on earth can beat. This brings us to our sixth weapon, one that absolutely anyone watching this video can activate right now. Let us look at our ultimate equation one more time. THSPZED bằng MONEIA trừ COSTOSTOFZNTINGMONE. Almost everyone out there obsessively focuses on the first part, how to make a high return, like 10%, but the rich are obsessed with the second part, how to drive the cost of renting money as low as possible. Because every single percentage point you negotiate down from the bank's rental rate goes straight into your spread, risk-free. It is ultimate leverage on top of leverage. And the biggest lever deciding your cost of rent is your credit score. The difference between a fair credit score and an excellent one is not just some arbitrary number. It is a difference of percentage points on every loan you touch for the rest of your life. From your mortgage and car loan to your future business credit lines. That interest gap compounds into tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars over time. The rich do not have access to some secret bank. They just get cheaper money because they make themselves look like the safest, most reliable borrowers to financial institutions through clean credit histories. Anyone can improve this number. And building excellent credit is entirely within your control by paying on time and managing your credit limits intelligently. Let us bring this entire playbook together so you can take clear action today. Attack the cost side, check your credit score this week, find out what it currently costs you to borrow. Every point you raise is a discount on the rent of your future money. That is strategy number 6, pure, risk-free profit. Activate 0% arbitrage. If you are carrying high-interest debt, refinance it immediately using balance transfers, turning a negative spread into work. If you run a business, find ways to collect money before you have to pay out. Use customer deposits as capital and negotiate longer terms with suppliers. Every time you reduce your own cash in a deal, your return on equity climbs. Now do the math for your own life. For every dollar of own cash you put out, how many of society's dollars do you control? And does the return on those dollars crush the cost of renting them? That is the million-dollar question. From a billionaire using a giant credit line to avoid taxes, to using a promotional credit card to cycle cash flow, it is the exact same mathematical mindset. The only difference is the scale and where you choose to aim your leverage. To sum up this entire video in a single sentence, that is simply money you rent, and the only question that matters is whether what you do with it earns more than the rent. Put that inequality C in the right direction, and debt stops being a chain holding you down. It becomes the rocket fuel that propels you upward. The poor wear themselves out to pay off debt as fast as possible. The rich comments what the spread is and how much money they can control. Same loan, same interest rate. One number decides it all, and now you hold that number in your hands. Be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video, where we will break down the step-by-step process of building a cash-flowing real estate portfolio from absolute scratch. See you there.